you recall the last time that you were here,
Yes.
I was telling you that I could always see you getting back with Puffy in a little way.
I remember you said
Yes.
that. Yes.
Or in my mind,
Look at it.
or in my mind, getting together permanently with
First of all,
Pitbull.
right, Pitbull, it's crazy. Everybody came alive. They all had something to say.
Yeah, everybody has an opinion.
Yes, it's funny to me.
So, but, all right, so.
J.Lo leaving the country after reports surfaced that Diddy might be involved in tipping off authorities is a huge surprise. There's a lot to break down here: FBI raids, serious accusations, secret recordings, and even how all this could have affected her recent marriage to Ben Affleck. It's a wild story with a lot of layers to explore.
Buenas noches, Las Vegas. Now, you guys know I'm no stranger to this town. No, I've been on stage here many, many times. Too many times to count. But this is the most important stage I've ever been on. And let me tell you, it has never felt the way it does tonight. It has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. The energy in here is just electric. Can you guys feel it? Can you feel it? It's amazing. The election is just 5 days away, and there's so much at stake. The choices facing America now are monumental. And you guys have made this place a city where dreams come true, where people from all walks of life have planted a flag in hopes of creating a better future for themselves and their families. And you are the ones who are going to send the message that Nevada is Harris country. Kamala Harris is running for the people who dream, for the parents working overtime, the kids studying by streetlight, the teenagers practicing in the basement. She's the only candidate that wants to raise the minimum wage and make college more affordable. Keep the Department of Education and even put a teacher in the vice president's job. On the other hand, her opponent wants to kill the Affordable Care Act and eliminate the Department of Education. Right now, we are on the brink of an election that demands a choice. A choice between backwards and forwards, a choice between the past and the future, a choice between divided and united. And if you are anything like me and you value the idea that in this country, any child from any background can not only work their ass off to bring their dreams to life and be able to do so with dignity and respect for their neighbors, then it isn't much of a choice at all.
Here's what's going down. Suge Knight, yes, that Suge Knight, the infamous former head of Death Row Records, has made some shocking claims. According to Knight, Ben Affleck recently came across some unsettling footage of Jennifer Lopez from her time dating Diddy. It's important to remember that J.Lo and Diddy were in a relationship back in the late 90s.
Whether you're from Castle Hill in the Bronx, yes, baby, or Sunrise Manor in East Las Vegas. We all want a world where our kids feel safe and free and valued by their president, because whoever leads this country matters. That's how we make the greatest America. Because I remember growing up thinking my president cared about me, cared about my parents, cared about my neighbors and my community. Not just some Americans, but all Americans. I believe that our kids and this wonderfully progressive, innovative, and inclusive young generation deserve that too. And it is in our hands. It's our responsibility to provide that for them. You know, when I started in TV and film, I could get roles playing the maid or the loudmouth Latina. But I knew I had more to offer. And I think there are a lot of people in this country who feel the same way, who know that they are capable of more. And we all just want a chance to prove it. And elections are about choosing leaders who support that, not one who stands in the way.
Back in the day, J.Lo and Diddy were the ultimate power couple in the entertainment world, but their relationship was far from smooth. Now, Suge Knight is suggesting that the reappearance of certain tapes from that time, allegedly taken by the FBI from Diddy's properties, might have shaken up Ben Affleck. Knight even hints that these tapes could have played a role in Ben's decision to distance himself from J.Lo.
A former Playboy model claims Sean Diddy Combs made her watch a Jennifer Lopez music video on repeat at one of his freak-offs. Rachel Kennedy claims the footage was playing on a continuous loop in Diddy's Tokyo hotel room during the 2000 interaction, and further alleged that the rapper was on the phone with J.Lo, whom he was dating at the time. Rachel said on the Daily Mail's The Trial of Diddy podcast that she found the entire situation quite odd, and further described it as creepy and disrespectful. Rachel and her two friends had been invited to Diddy's room for a party after meeting him at a topless club in Japan. She and her friends were expecting to just attend a party, but Diddy was alone in his room when they arrived. She claims they then engaged in a consensual sexual encounter. Jennifer Lopez has yet to comment on Diddy's legal trouble.
Let's break this down. First off, why did the FBI raid Diddy's properties? Well, things took a wild turn. On September 16, 2024, the Department of Homeland Security arrested Diddy and charged him with some extremely serious crimes: human trafficking, money laundering, and racketeering. This isn't your average celebrity scandal. These are very serious accusations.
Kamala Harris gets it. Raised by a hardworking mother in Oakland, California, working long hours, strict budget, made rent every month until they could buy a home, surrounded by a community of firefighters and teachers, nurses, construction workers, small business owners. I don't know, that sounds a lot like my upbringing, and probably many of yours. Kamala Harris gets it. I know as President of the United States, Kamala will fight for our freedom, the freedom of immigrants and immigrant families to chase the American dream, the freedom of workers to afford housing, education, food, and life's essentials, and the freedom of women to choose what we do with our bodies. I believe in the power of women. Ladies, where are my ladies at? Let me hear you. Yes. You know, I believe that women have the power to make the difference in this election. I believe in the power of Latinos. Where are my Latinos at? I believe in the power of our community. I believe in the power of all our votes. I believe that together we are the difference in this election. I know that together we are the difference in this election. Kamala Harris chose a career in law to fight for middle-class families like her own. From her start as a courtroom prosecutor to becoming the district attorney, then California's attorney general, then a U.S. senator, and now as vice president.
The raid on Diddy's properties reportedly uncovered tapes that were much more than anyone anticipated. Some sources are claiming these tapes show disturbing instances of abuse involving Diddy and his former partners, one of whom is J.Lo. Now, you've got to wonder, what exactly is on those tapes that could have been enough to freak Ben Affleck out and make him distance himself from J.Lo?
Developing now, new details are emerging about the FBI raid on homes owned by rapper P. Diddy. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News the searches were part of a federal sex trafficking investigation. Federal agents searching the hip-hop mogul's homes in both Los Angeles and Miami. Attorneys for Diddy called the search warrants, quote, an unprecedented ambush and a witch hunt. ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Tursky joins me now. Aaron, let's take a step back. Give us a little bit of the backstory about how we got here, what led up to this raid, what more are we learning about what federal agents were looking for and potentially what they found in these homes.
This investigation began with civil lawsuits filed by a number of accusers against Sean Diddy Combs, and some of the allegations do go back quite a number of years. He settled one lawsuit, others are still pending, and he has denied everything in them. But federal prosecutors, as they often do, took a look at those lawsuits. They were able to speak, we're told, to at least some, if not all, of Diddy's accusers. And then they sent federal agents with Homeland Security investigations to go to his houses and to try and get corroborating evidence, because that's ultimately what they would need to bring a case.
Yeah, and you heard the rapper's attorneys using some pretty strong words, calling it a witch hunt. And you see the pictures. In a federal raid like that, a lot of that is standard operating procedure, but when you see the heavy guns and people's hands over their heads being cuffed, what more are his attorneys, what more is his camp saying about this?
Well, they're complaining about the tactics. They said it was militaristic, and they said it was needless. They said that Diddy was cooperative, spoke to federal agents. We're told that they were able to seize electronics, as you'd expect, devices in the homes, because they're looking for videos, photos, any mementos that he may have been keeping that would corroborate what accusers have said. You know, if they said, well, I took a picture with him here at this place and he flew me on this jet here. They need evidence to corroborate that, and that's undoubtedly what they were looking for, and most of it's probably electronic.
They got to have probable cause in order to do something like they did that day.
It's a good point, and that tells you, I think, that they're confident in their case and that they were able to convince a judge that there was evidence in that home of potential crimes.
All right, Aaron Katersky, thanks.
To give some context, Diddy's alleged behavior has come under heavy scrutiny from many people. There have been accusations of emotional, physical, and even sexual abuse from over 120 individuals. These claims paint a troubling picture of his actions over the years.
I've only ever had one client, you, the people. And in each of those roles, she took on scammers who ripped off their customers, predators who abused women, and cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. There is no candidate in the history of the presidency that is more qualified, and there is no job that Kamala Harris can't do. Kamala Harris gets it. And that's what her policies are about. She will put forward an actual plan to make housing more affordable, to cut taxes for middle-class families, to help small businesses get a foothold, to expand the child tax credit, to fight inflation by cracking down on grocery monopolies, to take on those who rip off consumers. And what's that all about at the end of the day? It's about helping you get ahead. It's about you. And you, and you, and you, and you. It's about us, all of us. No matter what we look like, who we love, or who we worship, or where we're from. Her opponent, on the other hand, doesn't see it that way. He has consistently worked to divide us. At Madison Square Garden, he reminded us who he really is and how he really feels. It wasn't just Puerto Ricans that were offended that day, okay? It was every Latino in this country. It was humanity and anyone of decent character. Look, I'm a lover. You guys know that about me. I'm a lover. I am not a fighter. I am not here to trash anyone or bring them down. I know what that can feel like, and I wouldn't do it to my worst enemy, or even when facing the biggest adversary I think America has internally ever had. But over Kamala Harris's entire career, she has
Yes, 120 people. That's a staggering number, and it paints a very troubling picture of Diddy's past relationships. While he has pleaded not guilty to the accusations, the sheer volume of these claims is hard to overlook. It raises serious questions about what's really been going on behind the scenes.
New York. Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016,
One of the key figures from Diddy's past is Cassie Ventura. She has also reportedly been a victim of his abuse. According to claims, there was even a disturbing incident where she was caught on camera being beaten by Diddy while wearing nothing but a towel. These are chilling allegations that add another layer to the troubling picture of his past behavior.
For Sean Diddy Combs, yesterday we told you how federal agents searched 2 of his properties as part of an investigation into alleged sex and drug trafficking. Well, today, an updated civil lawsuit makes similar allegations. Chief investigative reporter Jonathan Deans joining us from the newsroom with where this investigation stands today, John.
Natalie, no criminal charges filed to date in connection with ongoing questions about alleged sex trafficking. But it appears one associate of Combs was arrested yesterday on unrelated drug charges. This is video of Sean Combs yesterday in Miami, shortly after news broke of the raids. The rapper known as Diddy, seen pacing shortly after federal agents seized his phones at an airport before a planned trip to the Bahamas. At that airport, Miami police say they also arrested Brendan Paul, who is charged with cocaine possession. A civil lawsuit names Paul as one of Combs' associates. This all happening after Homeland Security Investigations agents descended on his multi-million-dollar Los Angeles home yesterday. They could be seen carrying out boxes and bags of evidence. In Miami yesterday, a similar scene. HSI agents seen taking away evidence, including a laptop.
The speed at which it appears these raids were conducted suggests that agents were concerned that they needed to secure evidence quickly and prevent anyone from destroying evidence before they got there.
The searches, which lasted into the night, were based on search warrants filed here by the Southern District of New York. The matter related to sex trafficking, drugs, and other allegations previously raised in civil lawsuits against the rapper. One lawsuit updated just yesterday by a New York artist named Rodney Jones. He alleges sex trafficking, drugs, guns, and inappropriate abuse of minors were all part of an organized enterprise, with some of the activity allegedly taking place at Combs' properties. Lawyers for Combs in the past have denied any wrongdoing, but have not commented since yesterday's raids. Federal prosecutors in New York have interviewed numerous women who allege wrongdoing, sources tell us, and former R&B singer and Combs' one-time partner Cassie has accused him of physically and sexually abusing her for years. Combs settled that lawsuit a day after it was filed, but Combs' lawyer says he does not admit any wrongdoing in that matter. Again, no criminal charges filed and the search warrant remains sealed. Combs, again, not yet commenting, but in the past has denied wrongdoing. The criminal investigation continues. David?
Jonathan Deanstar, Chief Investigative Reporter. Jonathan, thank you.
Just thinking about this kind of behavior makes you question what other disturbing secrets could be hidden in those tapes, especially when it comes to J.Lo's safety during her time with Diddy. What exactly was going on behind closed doors, and how might it have impacted her? It's a troubling thought.
Conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member...
Tonight, these tapes may have caused even more damage. They might have strained J. Lo and Ben Affleck's marriage. He claims that Ben found out about the tapes and was completely shaken by what he discovered. It seems like this revelation hit him hard.
What a beautiful dress.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you, can't wait to see 3 a.m.
Yes.
The controversy.
Yeah.
How can we get a tape of this?
Oh, I'm going to send it to you. I will email it to you.
Email me the whole thing.
Yes,
I love it. I love that you're constantly crushing the glass ceiling, or crushing the black ceiling.
Yeah.
You're one of the first. One of the first.
And I'm blessed to be in this industry.
Yes, and you're blessed.
I just try to blend it with my artistry.
Yeah, and you create that. I'm thrilled. I want to see that like tomorrow, 8 p.m. Send it to me at 3 a.m. in the morning, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine this, Ben Affleck, known for his laid-back personality and preference for privacy, suddenly confronted with footage of his wife's messy past with Diddy. Suge Knight suggests that seeing this might have completely changed Ben's view on his marriage to J. Lo, making him question everything about their relationship. It's no surprise that this kind of revelation would shake him to the core.
You know, I think a lot of people, especially in the black community, are, you know, I've seen the narrative of like, you know, they just trying to take a black man down. And it's just like, that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. This is about accountability and a reckoning. Like, that's just the bottom line.
As for what justice looks like?
I think justice looks like Diddy being behind bars. And I also think that justice looks like everybody getting retribution for all of the things, the amount of therapy. Like I just said, all of the moments, the time, like these are our careers.
And Chloe is back with us now. You hear her saying justice looks like Diddy behind bars. Is there a possibility that could still happen? Where does the criminal case stand?
So Cassie filed her federal civil suit here in New York, and the NYPD has come out and said that there is no investigation into Diddy right now. Now, that doesn't mean that the district attorney of Manhattan isn't looking into something, or perhaps investigations going on behind the scenes, but publicly, on the record,
Ben and J. Lo had already been showing signs of trouble, even before all this drama came to light. If we look back at their public appearances in 2023, there were moments where it felt like they were from completely different worlds. Take their appearance at the 2023 Grammys, for example. J.Lo was her usual charming, lively self, soaking up the spotlight, while Ben seemed like he'd rather be anywhere else. The contrast was hard to miss.
I want to bring in Myla Morales. She's a former makeup artist for Diddy and also Cassie Ventura, working for Diddy for years and eventually becoming a friend of Cassie's. In 2010, Myla alleges that she heard Cassie being physically abused and was a witness to the aftermath of the alleged attack. She joins me now. Myla, thank you so much for being here. This has been, for so many people, illuminating, infuriating, troubling, devastating. You can go down the list of things, but it's so difficult to speak about.
I know.
Being a witness of anything. Tell me how you must be feeling just knowing that this has even come to light.
Well, I have kept this secret for like 14 years. I mean, the first time I experienced it was 2010, and I was in the hotel room when Puff came in, and I had no idea Cassie left. And when I woke up, I just saw his presence come into the room. They went into the bedroom and shut the door, and all I could hear is screaming and yelling and whatever was going on in there, I don't know. But all I could think of was to grab Cassie's things and start packing it up and just getting her out to safety and bringing her to my house. So that's kind of like what transpired from that night. And once she came out of the room, she was badly, beaten.
Oh my God, what did her physical appearance look like?
I mean, it was knots on her head, black eye, busted lip, but a lot of knots all over her head.
Ben is famously known for disliking red carpet events and the media frenzy that comes with being a Hollywood A-lister. He's always been more private and down-to-earth, which made those public appearances with J.Lo even more noticeable.
Hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
He's famously known to dislike red carpet events and the media circus that comes with being a Hollywood A-lister.
Did she go to the police at that point or anything?
No, we didn't know what to do at that point because, Puffy is a very powerful person and we were quite terrified. So I just, brought her to my house, and my friend who is a doctor, I called her, and thank God she was in town because we didn't know what to do. And she treated her for, just to make sure she didn't have a concussion or anything like that. But it was really it was painful to see Cassie like that because she's such a beautiful human being, and for a man to just hurt any sort of woman or child or animal, it doesn't matter, but Cass is a good friend of mine, and I just felt, I just didn't know what to do. I felt like, I don't even know how to describe how I felt that night.
Did she describe how she was feeling about having that happen? Did you get a sense that this was the first time?
It didn't feel like it, because it wasn't. It was almost like, you know, I feel like she might have been embarrassed that that happened in front of me.
But the incident that you're talking about even predates what we saw in this horrific video from a hotel floor. When that video came out, what did it feel like knowing that that had now been public?
No, I was devastated when I saw that video, because it was like I witnessed what could have happened in that room and more, you know? So that was a hallway incident. Who knows what happened, you know, in that room when I was outside of there. And I was devastated. Actually, I've been devastated since the court cases came out and how, you know, he mistreated Cassie.
He has settled the suit involving her specifically, but there are others, and there are sources that are telling CNN that the majority of the people currently suing Diddy are actually speaking to federal investigators, which indicates the Justice Department might be moving close to an indictment.
That night at the Grammys, Ben's clearly unhappy expression sparked plenty of rumors about tension between him and J.Lo. Now, with the resurfacing of these Diddy tapes, it's easy to see how this could have been the final straw for their relationship. It's one thing to have public pressure, but this is a whole new level of stress.
Do you think that Cassie would testify against him if federal investigators asked her to or compelled her to?
I'm really not sure. Like I said, I can't speak for Cass, but I hope she does. I hope she does, because she's the only one that would know all the information that's gone on over the years. So,
Mila, why do you think? I mean, we've heard certainly, you know, a lot of people in the industry condemn Diddy for what they saw on that video, but it hasn't been a universal outcry within the industry specifically. Why do you think that is?
Because it's a very small industry, and that we all know each other, and I feel like people are afraid to like speak up about it. And the only reason why I am is because I'm a friend of Cass's, and I really care about her very much so. And I'm outraged and very, very like heartbroken about like how he's been treating her. It just it breaks my heart, and I just can't imagine like a man treating a woman that way. And not just a woman, but a friend of mine that I've known since she was a teenager. So, you know, I've known Cassie before all of this. So it disgusts me.
I can only imagine, of all the women that you have worked with and people who are eager to be in the industry, what they are exposed to, how they could be exploited and abused in a variety of ways. And that's why the idea that not hearing so many more people speak up is very frustrating and hurtful for so many people.
It is frustrating and hurtful, even for me, because I know what goes on behind the scenes, and I just can't imagine why nobody's speaking up. I mean, everyone's just hush hush and quiet. I don't know, maybe they're scared. I mean, we've all been scared, so, you know.
I hope this is a turning point, Mila Morales.
I think so.
I really hope it is. Thank you so much for joining me
I hope
tonight.
so. Thank you so much, Laura.